What does God look like to you? When you think about, I'm not saying physically, what does God physically look like to you? But when you think about God, what is God like? What does that image draw up in your head? What is God like? This is at the heart of the temptations today. It's a wrestling with who God is and what God is like. Because Jesus, the Son of God, in his humanity, is out there in the desert enduring a great fast, enduring the elements, enduring the wild animals. He's enduring all of this that is not comfortable. And the devil appears to him and presents to him another image of God. That God is not like this. God is not like uncomfort or discomfort. God is not like hanging out with the wild beasts and the chaos. That's not God. God is powerful. God is all-knowing. God is mighty. God can do whatever he wants. God is God. This is what the devil is saying to Jesus. That if you are the Son of God, use your power. Do things that make life easier. Fix the problems of the world. This is what he lays before Jesus. And Jesus, in his humanity, it's a temptation for him, I suppose, because in humanity, that's, I think, what people sometimes think God is all about. That God is the all-powerful one. That God is the one who fixes things. He's the one who heals things. He's the one who drives away bad things. This is what we have this is our image of God. In short, and I say this, I feel like a broken record sometimes, but in short, our image of God is the genie in the magic bottle. Aladdin's genie is our picture of God. That's what we want. That's how we picture God. That he grants wishes, that he snaps his fingers and just makes things magically better, or protects us, or keeps evil away. And then when that doesn't happen, then we think that God is not doing his job. You're not doing your job, God. I rubbed that lamp. I told you what I wanted. I asked you for something, and you didn't give it to me. The evil one comes before Jesus today with the temptation of an idea of God that is unrealistic, because it's not God. God is not the genie on demand. We have a lot of things on demand these days. God is not one of them. God is not on demand. He's not a subscription service. But that's what the evil one wants us to believe. He wants us to believe that this is who God is, and when God doesn't live up to that expectation, you can rightly turn away from him then. You can rightly be angry with him. And how many times do we believe that lie? Someone dies unexpectedly, or even through the natural course of things, and we get angry, and in our grief, we lash out at God. Why didn't you save this person? Why did you give this person cancer? Why did you not take away this person's sickness? Why didn't you work a miracle? God, you are now my enemy. Or God doesn't make the path clean before us or easy before us, and we ask him, why aren't you doing these things, God? You don't love me. Why don't you do this? And God becomes the enemy. And as long as the devil can keep us thinking that God is the enemy, then we have no hope. There is no salvation, because now we have nothing to cling to and no one to turn to, because our one life preserver we have kicked away. If you were drowning in the water and someone threw you a life preserver and you thought it was a millstone that would take you to the bottom, you would not grab onto it and you would die in the waters. This is the devil's thought process. This is what he wants us to believe, that God is ruining our lives, that the way God is not what we want. So make him the enemy, don't touch him, put him in the cabinet, pull him out whenever it's convenient for you, but send him away and live your life. And we don't realize that that's how we drown, by not grasping hold of God, and grasping hold of the true enemy, we find ourselves eternally doomed. So, what is the picture of God then? What does God look like? Who is God? Well, Jesus reveals to us perfectly who God is and what God is. This is why he took on our human flesh. And we didn't hear it today, but St. Paul's letter to the Philippians expresses this perfectly, that God humbled himself. He emptied himself. He poured himself out for our salvation. God makes himself weak. God makes himself little. And it's in that he shows his power. And this is the thing that flips our minds and flips everything upside down. That Jesus came to reveal that true power is not spectacle, but true power is constant progress in the good. If you want to be truly powerful, practice virtue day in and day out. Build a rhythm of prayer. Build a habit of charity. Build all of these things that's just continual, that we work at, and that we build like lifting weights. The more you flex those muscles and lift those weights, the bigger the muscles become, the more you're able to do, and the less you can be hurt. Likewise, spiritually, the more we practice spiritual progress, the more we exercise our spirit, the stronger we become against temptation, the stronger we become in spirit against the things of the world and those mixed up mentalities that are presented to us always. But it's exercising, that's power. It doesn't seem like much. Every day, just saying my prayers, every day, just doing good works, every day, just practicing a habit of being Christian, that these little things, day in and day out, that's what makes us strong. And now we are powerful because the evil one can't get us off track because I've got a rhythm. I've got my way. I know what I'm doing, and I'm choosing it day in and day out, little by little. Jesus makes himself little to show us that strength comes in littleness. The temptations that he offers today are temptations of the world, where the evil one comes before him and says, use your power, turn these rocks into bread. In other words, you're hungry? Well, just fix it by feeding yourself like this. And the temptation, I think, even exists in the world today, that as Christians or as the church, our first goal is to change the world, to fix the world's problems. Like, that's what the church should be. If the church isn't solving the world's problems, if we're not knocking poverty over, if we're not dealing with sickness and disease, if we're not fixing the political and policy problems of the world, then what's the church really here for? That's the temptation. Change the rocks into bread. Fix the justice issues. These are important things that we should be working at. Certainly, social justice is top in our priorities. But even more so, it's about being saved. That the church's mission is not to fix the world. The church's mission is to fix the human heart. The church's mission is to heal you so that you can have an effect in the world, knowing that we're never going to make the world paradise, but to have an effect in it because you have been healed and you have been saved. The other temptation, climb to the top of the tower and throw yourself down. There's a bit of spectacle in that. Can you imagine if Jesus did that and the crowd was down there and they saw him levitating to the ground? They would be like, ooh, we're in Las Vegas. And there's a showman doing his thing. And it would attract crowds and they would want to see this. I think sometimes we want that from religion. If it doesn't make us feel all whatever, we don't want it. Well, that's not very exciting. Well, that doesn't entertain me. Well, that isn't shocking. Well, that isn't whatever. And even faithful Catholics can be drawn to sometimes those supernatural things. Well, that Marian apparition, or that Eucharistic miracle, or that incorrupt body. And again, these are not bad things. These are good things. But that's not what our faith is centered on. Our faith is centered, again, on the quiet, the constant, and the regular. It seems weak and boring, but it's where real strength is. Jesus shows his power to the evil one by being God, by just being. That's the name of God, remember. I am. Not I do, or I show, or I conquer, or I make big. I am. There is nothing more simple and silent and quiet than just being. And so maybe in this Lenten season, as we think about who God is, it inspires us to then ask ourselves, well, if I'm created in his image and likeness, who am I to be? Can I be that simple? Can I be that quiet? Can I resist the temptation to have everything my way, to have everything easy and comfortable, to solve all of the world's problems and then feel powerful? Can I just live an ordinary, boring, day-to-day life where I'm building up that spiritual strength every time I say yes to that which is good? The temptations of the world and of the evil one are real, but Christ has shown us how to conquer them by being who we were called to be. So remember, we might say, but he was God, and he can stand up to the devil. But you have put on Christ. You have been baptized in him. You also share part of his divinity. So stand up to the temptation and simply be the person of Christ that you are called to be.